All right, it is a busy off season for basketball coaches. We've talked all about it on this podcast, and we've been talking a lot about Illinois women's basketball's busy off season, a good off season so far, and kind enough to give us more of her time. It's Shauna Green, Illini women's head coach. Shauna, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, last time we had you on, Shauna, it was basically just talking about how year one you accomplished a lot on the court, and then I would imagine this off season is about okay, how do we parlay that into more success? How do we take the next step as a program?
Yeah.
So just take me in. How did you and your staff kind of approach this off season? How did you go about executing that strategy?
Yeah, after this season, we knew exactly some of the areas that we needed to address in terms of roster. And I thought we just, we attacked that and the transfer portal and got a couple kids that, are going to help us in the needs that we obviously needed size. We needed some depth in the 4 and the 5 position. So we went out and got Camille and got Shay. So really excited about those two. And then I think our freshmen are really going to, I'm really excited about Corey and Gretchen and what they're going to do and bring and just, I think that they're going to add just, again, more depth to the guard and the wing spot, give us a bigger presence on the wing with both being 5'10", 5'11", and really both have the ability to score at all 3 levels. So, that was one of our biggest things is obviously just needed to really address those things in terms of our roster. And then in terms of our own kids that we have right now and our returners, really just getting to work in the gym and having I think we had 3 or 4 weeks. I forget exactly how many weeks it was, but just their attention to detail, their energy, how they attacked all of our postseason workouts. I was just really, really impressed with, because as you guys know, it's a long season. And at that point you can just be done with it. But they were so motivated. I love their energy. So overall, it was a really good postseason for us.
Shauna, I mean, you hope your success on the court translates in recruiting, but did you have any nerves about that? Or what did you learn about the quick buy-in from some pretty top transfers? And I know can't talk about them here, but some 2024 recruits actually buying into this.
It's just kind of what we've, it's about those relationships. If you look at our 24s, those are kids that we've had long-lasting relationships with. If you look at our, the transfers, obviously Camille Hobby, we had recruited at Dayton, knew her, had some familiarity with her. Now Shay Bollin's different because we didn't know her at all. And if you would ask her, she was only looking at schools that really she had a previous relationship with, but then we just really hit it off right away, her and I, and that worked out. So no doubt about it, though, the winning a little bit this year has helped and really opened some eyes to some recruits. And, from last summer to this summer, where we're at recruiting and even who, is interested, it's a lot different. And even what we need, last summer, we didn't really know exactly what we had, what we needed to address. We just built the roster and kind of went with it. And now it's just a very clear vision, of what we need to get better at in terms of a team. And then also what we needed to improve upon, in recruiting.
With Shay, that's interesting. Like, how's that go? Is it just like a hope? Like, boy, I hope she returns this text or takes this call. Like, if you don't know her, like, how'd that kind of all build up to getting to where you got?
Again, no previous relationship. We knew some people that, knew her well and knew her people well. So, we reached out to her, and her mom's an AAU coach, and runs Bay State Jaguars out east in Mass. So, our assistants and myself, we had recruited some of her players before. They knew her better than I did in terms of her mom. So, we reached out to them. Shay, I talked to her in our first conversation. We talked for 45 minutes, and that's a long time to talk to any recruit, especially I don't like to be on the phone that long. I'm talking to anyone, but I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, we've been talking for 45 minutes, Shay. And it was just like, I got off the phone, I went down the hallway and told the assistants, I'm like, I just love this kid and her personality and a lot of our, core values and what she was looking for, what we were looking for aligned. So from there, it just really, I think then she's like, okay, I want to go visit them. And then from there, it all worked out.
Yeah, I know, Shauna, momentum is such a big thing. When you're building a program or maintaining a program, what kind of momentum do you guys feel like you have right now? Just what you've done in the season, and then, I mean, it's been a good off season. Like, where are you guys at in that front?
I agree with you, Joey. I think momentum's huge, and you got to keep that momentum, right? No matter what, you just got to continue to just have positive energy around what we're doing. And I think we have that right now. Even just being on the road this past weekend, you know, whether it's college coaches, our peers, you know, our colleagues, whether it's AAU coaches that we can talk to, everyone's like, you know, great season, what you did. Like, so there's just so much talk out there where last year when we were out on the road in July, you know, I was just hoping that we could win a game and not knowing really what, you know, and everyone I think was looking at me like, what the hell did you just do? Why'd you take this job and why'd you leave Dayton? Right. So it's funny how things change in literally even just, you know, 12 months. So really good energy. I think, you know, a lot of people now are like, hey, Illinois, you know, you can win there and, you know, you can go there and have the best of both worlds where obviously play in one of the best conferences in women's basketball, get an elite education from, you know, such an unbelievable school. And also, you know, go to a place where you're going to have relationships with your coaches and we're going to have that family atmosphere. So I want our players to be able to have it all. And I think that that's getting kind of out there. And obviously we're not going to get every recruit. We're not going to win every battle. But you know what? We're in those battles that we weren't even able to get into last year. And we've won some of them. And that's what it's all about. Just continuing to climb, continuing to get to that next level and everything that we do every day.
Sean, I think anybody who saw your team, obviously bombs away. You guys could get hot from three and compete with anybody, especially on the perimeter. But behind Kendall, behind Bryn, you need a little bit of depth there. And you add one of the most highly sought after centers in the transfer portal. And Camille Hobby, I'm wondering if Jen put in a good word for her being a former NC State teammate. But what does Camille give you? What does she allow, not only for you guys to do on the court, but what does she allow for Kendall and for Bryn and everybody?
Yes, I mean, getting Camille was just a huge get for us, you know, just in terms of who she is as a player, who she is as a person, her experience. I know I've talked a lot about her experience. She's played, I mean, NC State, they won the ACC, you know, they've been in big games. She's played against the best that there is in the country. To get someone of, you know, from that high level of a program, she obviously knows how to win. She knows what it takes. And what I love about her is that toughness. She just brings toughness, physicality. And as you guys know, I mean, Kendall, we asked Kendall to do so much last year, you know, and she did. And she's able to play sustained minutes. But imagine now her getting a little bit of a break. Imagine what she'll be like. Imagine how much even more productive she'll be. You know, now we can even have Kendall maybe move to the 4 spot and have, you know, Camille at the 5 and now have 2 really elite rebounders and scorers. And that'll give Bryn a break, you know, so we just didn't have the depth, as you guys know, in that 4 and the 5 spot, which we saw as the year went on. It really came to kind of, you know, bite us in the butt. And obviously when Bryn and Kendall got hurt late in the year, we just weren't the same team. So, you know, credit to Bryn and Kendall, because again, they do so much for this team. So it's not going to take away anything from them. It's just it's going to make them better. It's going to open more up for everyone. So really, really excited to see what it looks like and to really just see the versatility that we can have now and actually playing some different lineups.
Yeah. I know Shay struggled with a little bit with injuries, didn't play a ton last year at Duke. Obviously a high pedigree given the offer she had out of high school, the ranking she had. So what do you hope she can add once she gets into the program here?
You know, I think Shay's someone that's really interesting to me and intriguing because she didn't really play last year much at Duke, right? She had some injuries in high school. It's kind of a fresh start for her. It's kind of it almost like a genesis where, you know, a little bit different because I recruited Jen in high school and I knew exactly what that looked like. Where I didn't recruit Shay really in high school, I knew of her. Some of the assistants saw her a lot in high school, but I didn't spend a ton of time, you know, watching her. But she's obviously capable of doing a lot, and her skill set, you know, and her ability to shoot and her size. I mean, there's a lot of great things there that you cannot teach. So now, you know, just excited to see her get in here, see how she is in our system, you know, improve her skill set. and have her work with Kylie and our nutritionist, and to get her in the best shape of her life, and to see what's out there. So I think she's someone that really excites me, just because there's some unknown, because she didn't play that much. But I think that, shoot, if she can do a little bit of what Genesis did, I'll take that.
Shauna, I know when we talked earlier this offseason, you said bigs and posts are probably the most heavily recruited in the portal, and you go out and land 2. What's the magnitude of that for you? And if we would have told you in March or April that you'd be able to land 2 out of the portal, would you have bought that?
You're right. It's so hard. Every coach you talk to this weekend, when we're out recruiting and talking, it's, we need a big, we need this, and they're like, but everyone in the country needs a big, right? So it is so hard. And all the bigs, they're being recruited by everyone, every school, because we all need it. So yeah, to be able to get two bigs, 2, great size, come from great programs, high level players, it was a huge win for us. You got to try to get wins every single day. And those were 2 really big wins for us, because we needed them. We needed them bad. And a lot of people were recruiting them. And there was people recruiting them, in our league, and top teams in our league. So when I say those are battles, like, to even be in, and now to be able to win some of those battles, I think that's just another step up for us as a program overall.
Shauna, we haven't even gotten into adding Brittany to your staff. That's another really big win for you guys. Well, how did she tell you she was on board? And I know Calamity and her had gone back. They go back quite some ways, but how did that all kind of come together there?
That's another just kind of thing that just happened organically, really. It was, obviously with Ryan, leaving, and that happened fairly quickly, as a lot of these head coaching jobs do. So it was pretty, okay, I'm interviewing. Okay, I have the job. Okay, I need to hire someone new. So, and just, talking to some people, and her name, I'd heard her name a lot, and her name came up that maybe, she would be interested in getting back closer to home. She's from the East Coast, obviously at a great program. So she doesn't need to look for a new job. And we talked, and I think that right away, some of our values and core values aligned, and what, she was looking for, what I was looking for, then, just continue to talk more. And then she wanted to come on campus. So, I felt good about it, bringing her to campus and just to see everything. And really, she's the only one I really, really talked to. So, got pretty lucky, really, to have someone of her status and caliber and experience, where it just all aligned. I think I really believe timing's key. I also believe in getting her to come. If we would have lost last year and not had I think it's just like recruits. I think, it maybe would have been not as intriguing for her to come on board. But I also think, Brittany's been in this business a long time. And when she was at Virginia Tech, we had some, and we were at Dayton, we had some recruiting battles where, we got a couple players she was recruiting and they were recruiting. And I think she's followed kind of us from afar, and I've kind of followed her along her path. So some things just work out, and we're super excited to have her, part of our family. And I think she's going to add a lot to us, and just some new ideas too, and that's good. You need that sometimes. It gives us a kind of a breath of fresh air and get some fresh thoughts and ideas into here.
I was going to say, what's it like to kind of get maybe an outsider? I mean, you've had a staff that's been together. What's the value of that?
Just like I said, I think new ideas, right? And obviously she's won a national championship at Stanford, worked for a Hall of Famer there, and had a really good experience working at Virginia Tech for 2 coaches, and obviously for Kenny that just was in the Final Four. So just, a lot of experience that she has. And I think that, it's actually, I'm excited. Tomorrow we have a staff meeting where we're actually going to talk about basketball instead of, all we do right now, I feel like, is recruiting. So tomorrow, and it's our first meeting. And this week we're really going to dive into, just kind of planning for next year, planning for this off season, and any things we want to do differently in terms of X and O's and adjust stuff. So I'm excited to hear some of her thoughts on what they did. Because we really just haven't had a lot of time to dive into, what we actually do. And that's what people sometimes forget. It's like, this isn't just about sitting around and doing X and O's all day. There's a lot more that goes into this. So tomorrow we're going to get to do the fun stuff and talk some basketball.
But it's not just fantasy basketball either. You got to coach them up. You got to develop them. You got to get this chemistry. So let's talk about that basketball side of it. The great part is you have an experienced team, but you have a core that most of them are going to be here for a couple of years. So what's the next step in building as a team? You add new pieces, but you get, your core back. So what's the focus for you guys in the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think that, in the postseason, it was really just about individual skill work and getting better. And we got to get each player better in the ways that they need to get better. And we had in those individual meetings with our whole staff and support staff and laid out really a plan for each individual, what they need to improve upon. So we'll continue to do that throughout the summer, but then it's also now that we'll have everyone here, obviously just the chemistry, getting together as a team, being on the court as a team. And now this year we can actually kind of, we can progress a little bit faster, where last summer we didn't have, we had to take it so slow. We didn't really do anything in terms of offense or defense, like philosophy. It was more just skill work and fundamentals and terminology. So I think that we have an opportunity to really take, a step to get ahead of some things. And we'll look at that of, what we want to attack early, but we'll get into more defensive stuff early, offensive tweaks that now we can just continue to add to, and then also this summer, just looking at playing, people at different positions too, like get some experience with Kendall, at the 4 and Bryn and even Shay maybe at some 5 and then just get to look at some of that stuff. So I think the biggest thing though is our chemistry and our team building and our team bonding, because we are going to be a new team, just like last year we were a new team. So how quickly we can come together and feel comfortable together will be a big emphasis this summer.
What excites you with Kendall at the 4? Like, what can you unlock in her game, and then just for you guys as a team broadly?
Yeah, I think first off, depending on who we're playing in matchups, I think defensively it's good. Sometimes they play, in the Big Ten, obviously there's a lot of teams that play a true 4 player. So now, we can have a 5 player guarding their 5 if they're a little bit bigger, and then having, Kendall maybe on a bigger 4. I also want to, we're really talking to expand Kendall's, range. Kendall has a beautiful shot. I watch her in postseason and she doesn't miss, from 15, 17 feet. So this summer, talking to her about expanding, if we can get her to hit a 3 consistently, which she can, but just having the confidence through repetition and practice this summer, she can hit that. Even those, Iowa, she was 7 for 7. And all those a lot of them were jump shots. And so her just having that confidence to do that, I know she's capable of doing it. That adds a whole new element, because now you have 2 big time rebounders in there. Now, Bryn did a much better job towards the second half of the season of really picking up her rebounding. But if you can have, Camille Hobby out there, now you have Kendall out there, 2 people that are capable of getting double figure rebounds, I think that helps us a lot. So just really working on, trying to get that confidence and footwork and everything in terms of Kendall making those 17 footers to 3s.
Shauna, zoom out a little bit. It's been a little bit more since your 1-year press conference there. What surprised you most beyond the on the court? I know we've talked so much about that, but what surprised you the most about this first year?
Man, it feels longer than a year, but I guess really I was hoping for it, but I guess just how much people are really into women's basketball around here now, and really everywhere I go, everyone is going to talk to me about our season, and to have that, energy and again, momentum, like you said earlier, to have people noticing and caring about Illinois women's basketball is really, really, that means the most, really, because I think that's what it's all about. So I always knew, and I believe that's why I took the job, that we could have that support. But it was great to see it and feel it. And I'm still again, still feeling that everywhere, in the airport flying out the other day, people are coming up and talking to me about the season, taking selfies. I had a little girl come up to me in Louisville yesterday, and she's a huge fan and has been to some games and wanted, a picture and just those things where like that. And it's not about me. It's about our kids and people recognizing and appreciating what they've done this season. So that's really, I don't know, it's surprising, but it means a lot because that's what we came here to do. We came here obviously to win games and compete for championships, but we came here to really hopefully be able to make an impact on this community, make an impact on these young, girls that come to games and see unbelievable role models that we have. And we have really great kids. So that means so much to me. And I think that's been the most rewarding and, again, I don't know, surprising, but something that's just really, made me feel good.
Shauna, I'm not like a women's basketball expert, but obviously you guys you had a breakthrough year this year, but it also felt like nationally women's basketball had a bit of a breakthrough year, whether it's Caitlin Clark,
yes,
getting the attention she did, LSU, whether you like them or not, it's phenomenal to watch.
Yeah.
The attention to it might've changed. Maybe the game hasn't changed, but you've been a part of this your entire life. So I want to ask your opinion about what this last year, maybe last few years, like, has it changed for women's basketball?
I really think, I think it has been changing, but no doubt this last year felt different. Like it was different across, I think in the Big Ten, obviously it was my first year, but I've also followed the Big Ten for a long time. The Big Ten this year was different. You look at all the numbers of all the crowds, all the records, sellouts, numerous schools in our conference had sellouts. I mean, that's unbelievable for women's basketball. And then you look on the national level, look at the Final Four. There has not been a Final Four with the viewership, with the attention, with the publicity. And it's just so great to see this game really get the recognition that it deserves. So now we just got to continue to keep it here and continue to grow. And I think it will. I mean, some of the players that, are still here, the young players that are out there, I mean, they're just getting better and better and more athletic and bigger. And I think our game's in a really good spot and just need to continue to grow it.
What do you think has led to that? Is it just the opportunity building year after year after year and people actually maybe tuning into games saying, hey, this is pretty dang entertaining?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of a lot of those things. I think number one, the product has to be good. And you have some really good players out there right now. And I think you have to give, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, although you got to give them their credit because Caitlin Clark has completely changed women's basketball. I mean, she just has. She's just one of those once in a lifetime, hopefully we'll have more of her, but look at everywhere she goes. People are going to come and watch her, even look at LSU and the same thing. They have those personalities. They're competitors. They play with passion and emotion. And I love it. I think that's, it's almost, they're entertainers is what it is, right? They're entertainers and they're drawing the crowds and they're really good at what they do. So I don't think we've had just, the people either, those type of people and a lot of them. And I think exposure is key. So now more games are on TV, more people can tune in. And you saw that with all the numbers from Big Ten Network, our numbers were off the charts. And then you look at the Final Four and the viewership of that were off the charts. So again, hopefully we can continue to have just great players to make this game entertaining and for people to want to tune in because they want to tune into good basketball. And I don't care if it's men or women, they just want good competitive basketball.
Shauna, we can't get you out of here without asking about Makira. She had a big opportunity, obviously, with Team USA there. Like, what's that like to see her have that opportunity? What's it mean for her, for you guys? And what's just that been like?
When we got the email inviting her and then, making that call, because I was on the road recruiting about a month ago when we got that invite and to hear her excitement. And, sometimes with Makira, I always have to, tell her like, hey, this is a really big deal. Like when she got All-American, I'm like, Makira, she's just so humble and doesn't really get too high or too low. I'm like, this is like, not many people can ever even get invited to USA basketball, and so she was super excited about it. And really thought it was great because it really focused her into those 3 or so weeks leading into going out to Colorado Springs. She had a different workout plan than what most people would right now, or other kids did because postseason, but she was trying to prepare. So she had to do extra conditioning. She's in playing pickup. And it was really cool to see her invest in that, attack that. and she went out there and, you know, played really well, and obviously got invited back. So now she's, you know, took a few days off and now is going to start up her prep again to go out there and hopefully make the final team to be able to go to Mexico and play. But I mean, I think it's the highest honor you can get, right? To be able to go out and have an opportunity to represent your country. So again, it's just, I think it shows what, you know, I just think back of her, you know, as a freshman at Dayton and how far she's come and the steps and, you know, overall her as a person, her as a player, it's just amazing to watch and see her journey. And, you know, hopefully we can have her for 2 more years and see a lot more of it, because she's a special player. She's a special person, and I'm really proud of her.
I know you can't talk about names, but to get some buy-in in 24 this summer early, what's that do for you guys as you kind of build out this picture there?
Yeah, you know, getting a couple early commitments in 24 has really been important. The sooner you can get them, because we have such a big class in the 25 class, because that is if let's say all those guys, Kendall, Jen, Makira, if they take that COVID year, that would be the 25 class. So we have like 5 or 6 scholarships, you know, that we're going to need. And obviously you're going to be replacing pretty much your core. So that 25 class for us is critical. So now with getting those early 24 verbals, now we can go in, and like this past weekend, I really watched a ton of 25s where last summer we were playing catch up, you know, all through the year we're playing catch up and trying to, you know, get in on 24s. We were trying to complete a roster last year at this time for this year. So it really just helps us and gets us in a better position for that 25 class, which is going to be just a huge class where we need to bring in some players that are capable of playing right away, because you are losing. You're losing a lot of points, a lot of experience, and a lot of leadership in that core group.
Last one for you. You got a first pitch coming up. Is that right? How's the first pitch game?
You know, I did it last year. I thought that was going to be my, you know, one time. And I guess no one wants to do it because they asked me again. And I said, I'll do it. You don't have to twist my arm to go to Wrigley and go to a game and throw out a first pitch. So luckily my son, he's playing baseball. So I'm out there playing catch with him pretty much whenever I can. I'm out there playing catch with him. So, but I will say last year when I did it, that was a heck of a lot longer than I had practiced, because I threw from the rubber. So I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm throwing from the rubber, and it's a lot longer than what I thought. So I will use my past experience and hopefully be able to throw a better ball this year and get a strike over the plate. So
is he going with you? Is he going to Wrigley with you?
Yeah. They came last year as well. So, and it was cool. You know, Andy and Mateo got to come down on the field and you know, when I did it, so it was pretty cool for them.
I was gonna say the Illinois people doing pretty good. Josh Krutz and Keith Randolph both threw strikes from what I saw. So no pressure, Coach.
I know. It's, you know, I wasn't nervous at all last year until literally I was walking out there. I'm like, okay, really, like I got to get this over. I can't be my competitive juices start going. I can't be the one that like holds onto the ball too long and it goes flying. And so I'll be ready to go.
Shauna Green, Illini women's basketball coach. Best of luck moving forward. You're killing it so far on the court, now off the court. We always appreciate the time, and all the fans really appreciate the insight into your program.
No, thank you guys for all you do. You guys are awesome. You're the best, and great being on with you.